Mr. Odili, you're welcome. You're welcome, Odili. Um, yeah, thank you. Okay, so very fast, we are going to start now. Uh, Now, the assignment, can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? I want us to respond because I want this class to be
Yeah, we can
interactive.
hear you.
So please, okay, please, I want you to respond when I ask questions so we can move very fast because I would like to be getting feedback from you to really be sure that you are actually following. Now the using HTTP module, uh, that means we did not use any framework, right? But now the assignment meant the same thing. How do we do that? Now we are being introduced to ExpressJS as a framework for us to use to implement that task. Now, the Express framework of a thing seems confusing when it was handled in the class last Saturday. So, but I want to try my best, see what I can do to simplify it so that we can actually get it. So, as I said, this thing is not that difficult. We just need to pay attention to details. And I tell you, you are going to find it very easy. Now, if you look at my screen now, I just want to show you the basic difference. Some of those differences you are going to be seeing when we start working with the Express now, as compared with the use of HTTP requests. Now, if you look at line 2 now, I'm going to uncomment this now. Look at this line 2 and line 6 now. You can see, if you want to declare your server using HTTP, which was the former method we use, you can see the way we declared it, right? Using http.create server. We are to start our server with Express. This is how we are going to declare it. Const server equals to Express. Do you get that now? This is how we are going to declare it. If it is a route you want to declare, because in ExpressJS, we have this concept called router. So router are just like, like another API that the main API where you are running your server will depend on. So if you are to declare that particular route, you want to declare the server for that particular route. You know what I mean by route? When you go to your URL and you have your HTTP, something like this. You have your HTTP, then you have your local hosts, colon, then maybe you have your port, maybe 3000. Now, this thing that I've written here, let me comment it. You can see what I have written here is just like your home directory. That is the root directory to this particular server. When you start this server, of course, this is the root. But by the time you go to your URL and say slash anything, maybe slash about stage, this about can be a route. So for this particular about route, if you want to declare the server that will be running on this particular route, this is how you are going to declare. You are going to say const. Let me just copy this one. Control copy, Control V. Now, instead of having Express, then you are going to have express.router. So this is what you are going to have. So you can see the difference between 6 and 7. So the difference is that this is just to declare the main API, the root API that every other route that are also APIs are going to what? Are going to depend on. You understand? Or let me say other servers are going to depend on. So this is the main server that will be running on your system, but this is going to depend on this. And we are going to see it how it works by the time we write the Express framework properly. Okay, now, oh, sorry, the light just went off. Let me just, hold on. Let me just, okay, you can still see me. Okay, okay. Are we there? Okay, so this is just for the router, right? So do we get the difference between this line 6 and 7 before I move on? Do you get what I explained about line 6 and 7?
Yeah, please can you please come again, because I don't really get the definition for
Okay,
the
the explanation.
yes, just
Okay, now, okay, let me come again. What I'm saying is that what? Line 6 is for you to declare your server, your Express. You see, this Express framework, you want it to run your server instead of HTTP. HTTP is what we use to create our server without framework. We use HTTP module to create our server. Do you understand? Now, we don't want to use HTTP module now. We want to use framework. So to start your server with framework now, this is how you are going to declare your server now. So I'm trying to show you the difference between using framework in line 6 and not using framework, which we did before in line 2. This is the difference in the creation of server between the two. Do we get that now? Then for line 7, I am saying if you need to have a route, like for example, about is a route. If you go to your URL and say, HTTP localhost, your port 3000, then you put slash about. This about is a route in Express framework. So you can have it as a route. And how do you declare it? Because it's going to be another server running that this server in line 6 is going to depend on. I'm going to show you, you will get it proper by the time I go to the work, but I just want you to see the difference. So if you are declaring this now, it's going to be express.router when you are declaring the server that will run this particular about. But for the home, the root directory, it is this particular line 7 that you will declare there. I'm going to show you, don't worry, let's move on. So that is the difference between, using framework and not using framework in the way we declare our server to start running. And don't forget, both of them have the same, this listening, by the time you declare server here, you are still going to say server dot what? Dot listen, right? He's going to listen, and he's going to listen to what? Can somebody tell me what's the first thing he's going to listen to? Can we talk?
our port.
Yes, that's very good. He's going to listen to your port, right? Then after listening to your port, you are going to have your what?
Callback
Your
function.
your your callback function, right? So which is going to be the request and the what? And the response. Do you get that now? Okay, you can have it.
Sorry,
Sorry, you
thank
may
you.
not have that yet.
Hello.
So
What
you
about
are
the
going to
local
have
host?
your callback here. Okay, somebody said, what about the local host? It is not compulsory.
It's not
Your
compulsory.
local host is on your system. It's not compulsory you put the local host here. The most important thing is your port. Is that clear? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
having said that, of course, here you can just console.log blah 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 that your server has started running, right? So we all know that, right? Just say something that your server has started running. So console.log, you put a statement there. Now, The same thing happened here in Express. You are going to say the same thing. The same thing you said here, server.listing is going to repeat itself here too, right? The same thing. But the only difference is the way you declare the server. Can you now see the difference in the declaration now when you are using framework and when you are not using framework? Is that clear? Can I move on?
Yes, that's clear.
Okay, that's clear. Okay, good. Let's move to the next difference. Let's see another difference. So, line 15 is request handling. When we are not using framework, look at the way our request is always being handled. You know, by the time we start our server, we say request handler. Here, this is the callback function that we now run the request and the what and the response, that we handle the request and the response. Now look at the way the request and the response is being handled here when we are not using framework. You remember all this, we are all familiar with this. Let me uncomment it so that we can see it clearly. Can you see the difference? We said, you know, if request.url is equals to this and request.method equals to this get, then you set the header. After setting the header, then you need to show us the code, the status code that will be there, then end. And when you want to end, it means this is what you want to render. So you read a particular file that you want to render. In this case now, I'm giving an example of index.html as a page that you want to render, right? So we are familiar with this. This was what we did without using framework. But the difference is that in express.js, look at this line 30 now. Let me uncomment this line 30 now. Now, if you look at this line 30, you will see look at the difference. Look at all of this now and compare it with this. You can see the difference, that this is shorter. That is the beauty of Express. But because here we are only saying server.get, which is just like saying if request.url, like saying if request.url equals to what? This, and request.method equals to get. The same thing we have here, that server.get. This is how we write it in Express if you want to undo requests, right? Then see the response now. Compared to this, we have 1, 2, 3 lines here. Here we have just a single line to handle the response. So note here that I combined response.status and response.render. Is a combination. You can combine it like this. So ordinarily, I would have separated it and say, okay, response.render
Like
should stay separate.
you are
Then
chaining two things together.
Yes, exactly. So now, but we are not doing that. I have combined the two of them in one line, so you can do that. So I want you to note something here, the use of render. I use render here. It is allowed to use that in Express. But mind you, here we are doing response.end
Please, I have a fast
to
question, please.
show this is for web page. You just say response.end. You go and read that file where it is here. You know, here is going to be where you are going. This place now, we always say path.join, you know, we declare the path.join, then we put that value here. So that's a better way to do it, but you can just specify it here directly, you know, the particular file, then you do response.end to render it. But here we are just saying .render and we render it directly. So note the difference now, because when we start using those things, you'll be familiar with it. So you can see the difference. Okay. I want to move on.
Yeah,
Is
please,
that clear?
I have
You
a
can see
fast question, please. Can you hear me, sir?
Okay. Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, as regards to that set header, it's not the what's it called? The variable is not declared on that ExpressJS framework. How do we do that if you want to, like that rest.set header content HTML type? You
Yes.
get the question,
Yes,
please.
we don't, you said, Yes, you said we don't have it here, Abby.
Yes, yes, yes.
Exactly. You see, that's what I just said. The render of a thing is going to handle everything. That is the beauty of the framework. This
Okay,
render, we do the setting of the head. Do you understand?
okay,
It will
okay,
handle it.
okay.
So then, instead of write head that we used to do without
Mhm.
writing framework, we are now
Have
using
a status.
status. Can you see
Okay.
the difference now?
Yes.
Instead of using write head, we are now using status. So I want you to note those difference. So you won't be like, what is all this? You get confused with the use of all these things. Don't get confused. We use write head when we are not using framework, and we use status when you are using framework. You can see the difference, right?
So as for
Then
that
let me add
index,
this.
okay, sorry. As for that
Okay,
index,
okay, talk,
ordinarily
talk.
we will declare our path. But if it is let's assume we have different folder for our HTML now. So are we still going to render it such a way that we just declare the name of that file instead of giving it the path name? You get the question?
Okay, okay, that's very good. I got your question.
Okay.
Now, let me add this to that. That's a very good question. You know what is happening here? That's framework is very, very powerful. Now, let me show you something. There is something that actually make this work. It doesn't work directly like this. Do you understand? Just say render and you just put index without showing any part. How does he know that this is the part? We are not showing any part. How will it know the part to this index? Now, there is a particular middleware. Are you getting me? Sorry, I said middleware. There is a template engine that is attached to this, which we call EJS. We call that template engine what? EJS. So, which means that our server is going to use, we are going to say server.use. Are you with me? Place, I'm writing this. It is what I want to write now that makes this particular thing possible. So let's get familiar with it. So I'm going to say server.use. Something is going to be in the bracket here, which is called view engine. You understand? I'm going to put view what? Engine. Let's get familiar with it now. These are the things we need to understand this thing very well. Then view engine. What is the name of the view engine? That is EJS. We call it EJS, right? So this declaration that I made here is what makes this render possible. But there's one more thing you need to say. After saying, okay, this is the engine that I want to put in place to make this render possible, then in order to make it possible, how will it locate index? Then you will now say server dot what dot use, right? You will now say use what? You are going to use views. What do I call it? Views. It's going to use views and locate a particular folder called what? Called views. This one can be any name. These views can be any name, right? It is the name of the folder where this particular index is being stored. Please note this. This is the syntax for you to make this render possible, right? So this EJS is a template engine. I'm going to show you when we get to the main work. Don't worry, just get familiar with this. When I get to the main work now, you will see the way I used this, right? So let's move on. Let's move on. So basically, this render is made possible with these two declarations. We are saying use EJS, which is a template engine that will render what we have in this particular index, which is an HTML, is a web page. Is that, can I move on? Hello?
Yes. Yes, yes. We can hear you.
Okay. So now, before I move, look at this line 26 too. Line 26, if it is a file that you want to render, if it is a file that you, what I put here, don't worry about this. Let me just erase it so that you won't be confused. It's not part of it. Now, I say, if we are not using framework, it's going to be response.n JSON.stringify. If it is a file, then you put the name, the path, or the variable that the file is, you put it inside there. We are familiar with this JSON.stringify. Now, those places that we are using JSON.stringify without framework, we are now going to use what is here now. Look at this one now. Let me remove this. We are now going to use response.json. Then we put the name, the variable where we store that particular file. We put it here. You can see the difference. So the JSON.stringify we are using in that particular one where we don't use framework, we are now using response.json in place of it now. So this is the difference when you want to render a file without framework and with framework. But this one is for web page without framework, and this one is what? Web page when you are using framework. These are the basic things that am I communicating?
I think your network is breaking. Can you please come again? Hello.
Hello? Is
Yeah, we
network
can hear you.
issue? Are we
We can
back?
hear you. Yes, yes, we
Okay,
can hear
you can hear me now. Okay,
you. Yes.
okay. So the network is fluctuating. Is it still recording?
Yes, yes.
Okay, it's still recording. I can see. Okay. So please, I want to move on. That's just the difference. Then when it comes to grabbing data from the URL, you can remember this particular syntax here. Look at it. You can see const id equals to request.url.split. That is when you want to grab something from the URL. This is the syntax. But in express.js, we just say request.params.id. Look at that. I want you to get familiar with that as well. So let me move on because of time. This is another difference now. When it comes to grabbing data from the body, you want to get something from the body. You remember this particular syntax. If you need to get an information from the body, you do request.onData, then you do request.onHand. Do you understand? You push something into the body. That body would have been declared here. Do you still remember? Const what? Const body equals to what? Equals to what? Can somebody remind me? Equals to what?
An empty array.
Remember, when we are using it, when we are not using framework,
Yes,
what is this body going to equals to?
it's going to be an
An
empty
empty
array.
array.
Empty array. God bless you. It's going to be an empty array. Then we push it inside it. After pushing it inside it, then we buffer.concat and json.pass in order to get that particular item that we needed. But in Express, we don't need to do all this. This is what we just do in Express. Look at it. This is what we just do. We are going to use a middleware called body parser. This is the name here, body parser. We are going to require it in our work. So we now declare a variable for it, say body parser equals to, require this. Now this body parser now, after import, this is the way we import it into our workspace. Then after importing it, we now say server.use body parser.json, right? This middleware, I'm going to still explain what middleware means. This particular middleware called server.use body parser.json that we are using is doing everything here for us. Everything here is doing it for us. It will do the request.on, request.end, buffer.concat, json.pass. This body parser is doing everything. So, and after doing that, we can now say const item. We want to get it now. We now say request.body. You see, request.body is saying what is in the body. We now equate it to item. So this body contain everything that has been done by body parser.json. Are you getting me? It's going to store it. When you say request.body, it will do everything here from line 53 to line 59 and what? Assign it to item. So the same way we got item here at line 59, we just got the item directly in line 67 with just these three lines, 1, 2, 3. Do you understand? So that's the beauty of Express. So these are the basic difference between the use of framework and without using framework. So let's get familiar with all these syntax. These are the things you need to practice first. Make sure you know them very well. So before you start using it, it's like you want to start writing Express. You don't really understand the syntax. There will be problem. So this syntax, you need to master it. When it comes to cramming something and writing over and over again, this is what you need to cram because it's a language. You just need to cram it. Then after cramming it, you practice with it, then you get used to it. Do you understand? So that is how to go about it. Now, let's go to the main work now, having seen the difference. So this is the week 4 assignment given to us, which I have completed and I have even submitted it today. Are we there? And
Yes.
I just want to show us the way I go about it so that we can understand. Remember, the assignment is all about what we have written without framework. We now want to write it with framework. Are we there? How do we do that? Now, listen to me. The first thing you are going to do using framework is for you to install it. Let me use my git bash. Now, the first thing you are going to do is to install Express. How do you install Express? Don't you say npm what? Install. Then you say Express. I already have it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just showing you. So this is what you do. The first thing you do is to write this and install your Express, right? Now, when you install your Express, what happens? It gets stored into the dependency of your what? Of your package.json, right? Let me close all this so that you don't get bored with it. Let me close all this so you get the way the work is structured. Yes, this is just the two folders that we have. Now, in these two, this is the web server now that we want to run first now. Now, npm install Express is what you do. You install your Express. Having done that, right, it will go into your what? Into your dependency. Let me show you here. You will see it here. Let's go to package.json. Can you see it here at line 18? This is how you are going to have it in your dependency, right? Then another thing you will need to install is what? Is EJS. We're going to say npm install EJS, right? You can install EJS like this, and you have that also in your dependency, right? Then don't forget, hope you did not forget the way to install your nodemon, npm install, then / save what? Save dev, then you have your what? Your nodemon, right? So with this particular code now, you'll be able to install your nodemon into what? Dev dependency, right? So having done that, those are all the installation you are going to do, right? Having done that, then you come to your what? To your web server. Hold on. Your web.js. Yes, this is the one we want to work with now. Web.js. This is your application now. Web.js is your application where you are having your project. You are going to be running everything from here. Now, this is the Express that you have installed. You require it. You require FS because you are going to use this FS as well. Then this one, I commented it out. There's a reason I will tell you. Now we have your web const to web equals to Express. You know, instead of saying server, this is this declaration of the server. I just give it web. That is to show you can give it any name. You can call it server. You can call it app. Do you understand? So we have that. Then this is your port. We are familiar with that. Just the same thing, right? Now, the only difference thing now so far is that we install Express and we require it, right? So don't be confused. There's no big deal about it. Now, what we want to do is to render what? An HTML page. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. To render an HTML page, we have two ways of rendering it. You can render a static page and you can render a dynamic page. When I say dynamic page, it means you can manipulate that particular page from your what? From your application, from your back-end application. This back-end application, you can manipulate it from there. Do you understand? And if it is static, that means you just want to display. You are not doing any manipulation, right? So in order to make it dynamic, which is the best that you will always need to do, right? You will have to do this by saying web.set view engine to be EJS. Then web.set what? Views to be views. This is exactly what I showed you the other time. Sorry, I made a mistake. Supposed to be set, not view, not use. So this is going to be set, right? You set the EJS engine, which you have installed, and you set the views to be views. Now, these views is coming from here. Can you see these views here? That is the name of the folder. I say, okay, when you want to view, what are you going to view? It's going to be this particular folder. Whatever that is in this folder, views. Now, let me open the views now. You will see what is there. Can you see? I have index.ejs and I have error.ejs. That is what is inside this view. What I'm saying is that this line 11 and line 12 is saying use this particular template engine called EJS to show me the page, the file that is inside what? Views. That is what this line 11 and 12 is saying. If you open it now, index.ejs, please don't be confused. Index.ejs is just like index.html. The reason why we are saying EJS is that it is because we are using template engine called EJS to what? To open it. That's why we have .ejs. And there are some things you
Please,
can do.
are we
Okay.
going to be the one to create this? We are going to create the folder view. Then our HTML and error, is it going to work like HTML, the .ejs?
Yes, I've just opened it for you now. Look at it now.
Yes, I'm saying
I've
it.
just opened
I
it.
thought it was a folder.
No. It's a
Okay.
file. It's just an
Okay.
HTML file. The same thing.
File.
Look here.
Okay.
Can you see HTML here?
Yes.
Look bottom right.
Yes, I can see your
It is just
cursor.
HTML file. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, but it has to be .ejs because we are using EJS engine to run it.
Does
It's
it
a
have to be
template
the folder
engine
name?
that
Does it
comes
have
with
to be? Does it have to be views? Can we name it any other thing apart from
Does it?
the folder name for the EJS?
Okay, for the EJS.
Yes.
No, views. The convention is views. It has to be views. Do you understand?
Okay.
Now, are we there now? So what I'm saying is that, okay, if you look at this now, what do I want to do? I am saying, okay, this is the normal HTML. We are familiar with this. Just the same thing. I just use styling. This is the normal HTML that we used to have. Nothing different. Now, let me just show you the difference. The difference is that in this, the students now, because this thing is an EJS, I can put a variable inside this place that will be grabbed by the application. Do you understand? What do I mean by variable? I can say, look at it. I can say, coming. So you can do like this. Where's the percentage symbol? And do like this. Put percentage symbol. You understand? And say equals to. Then you can say name. Look at this thing I wrote. Equals to name. The student, I can say the student is, look at it. The student is, and I'll put name, which is a variable. Look at the way I did it. So I put this less than symbol percentage, then equals to, then and I'll put name here. Do you see this thing that I've written here? You can only do it with EJS. And anything I specify in my web.js now as name, it can relate with it. There's a way we declare it that is going to use it, right? So, but we don't want to discuss about that now. So don't worry about that. We're going to talk about that later, right? So let me just remove that. So that is just the difference in using EJS and what ordinary HTML. Now let's go back. Now we can now come here at line 14 and say web.get. This is the what? Get means what? When you say slash, it means the root directory. Then you have request, response, then you have resource or status 200 dot what? Dot render. Then you now say index. Now, do you know what the system is going to do? You're going to say render index. Where is index? Then with the use of the template engine that says, okay, whatever you want to render should be in the view. Are you getting me? The system is going to what? Is going to look for view in our folder and render whatever that is what? That is there. Do you get it now? And look for index there. Can you see index here? It will look for index inside view and render it. That is how it works. That is how it works. Are you getting me? So,
Yeah.
and I also stated there that if I also say get slash index, I'm specifying. That is even if you don't say slash anything, that is this line 14. But if you now say slash index, what did she do? The same thing happened. The same thing happened, right? Then lastly, I say web.get star. Star means if it is any other thing. When it is slash any other thing, what happened? Then it render the error. It enter the error page. So this is a particular implementation. That is, in fact, the cleanest and the most simplest implementation is this one. There is another implementation, which I don't know if time will permit me to show you, but this is the cleanest and simplest implementation you can have to render your page. Let us run it for you to see. Let us run it. So npm start. Okay, let's cd into that particular. We are going into what? Into web server now. Cd web server, right? Okay, we are now in web server. Now make sure you are always in the right directory before you start running your program. Now we can now npm start. That is the script that I've written to start my code. Your own can be nodemon web.js. Do you understand? Mine is npm start and it will start. Can you see? Server has started running as this particular. So let me copy it. Copy and let me put it in the browser. Let me put it in the browser. Now, if I render this one now, can you see? Enter. That is without slash anything. It is giving me the HTML page. You can see this is the .ejs. I told you it's just like your HTML page. It has rendered it. Then if you put slash index, Abby, index.html, just put slash index slash index. Can you see? It renders. If you put slash index, it also render the page. Then if you don't put slash index and you put any other thing, maybe slash about, which we don't have, can you see? What does it enter? Error 404, page not found. Can you see? Very straightforward and direct. You have your application running. So that is how this works. So I want you to take a look at it very well so that we don't start calling and saying we have issue with this one. It's as simple as this. What we have done is to install EJS and we set this view engine to work with EJS, right? As EJS. Then we set the view that, okay, whenever the engine want to work, we'll always go to a particular folder called views and look for what is there. And this is where we are now trying to render a particular page called index so that the search engine can go to the view and what? And render what is there. Are we there? That is one implementation.
Okay.
Now, if you don't want to use this implementation, you can also do routing. You can also do routing. I want to show you another way to render it. Are we together? You can do what we call what? Routing. Now, what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to do away with this particular web.set now. Look at it. I just commented this engine out. I don't want to use this engine again to render the page. Are we together?
Yes.
Are we there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yes, I want to use another way to render the page instead of using EJS.
Okay.
So what I want to do now is that I want to declare a route. I want to use routing to show the page. So I'm going to uncomment this now. Line 3, I want to uncomment it. Can you see line 3? Now, what I'm saying doing here is that I want to make a requirement to a particular route. Okay, let me do this. Let me comment it out. Now, if you want to use route, let me start the explanation of the routing. If you want to use routing, the first thing is for you to declare, you to see, look at this folder route. I will open this route now. Can you see index.js there? Now, this index.js is another application like this web.js, which is the main application that we are running our server from. But I have another application here called index.js. And I want it to depend, I want this web.js to depend on this index.js as a route. That is why I am having this. I'm talking about routing now. For some of us, I'll be saying, what is routing? Let me come again. This particular routing, what you will do is to have a folder called route and put the name of your route inside it, which is going to be an application. For example, index.js. I want it to be a route. That is why I'm putting it here. So let me open it for you to see what is there. See what is inside it. You can see that I also declare, import, and express inside it, which are installed. That is step 1. Just like the same way we did for our web.js. You can see it's another application on its own. Then, instead of saying const web equals to express, that the way we did for this one, look at the way we have it here. We now say express.router. You see, that was what I showed you the other time. You can see express.router here. So on our main web, you can see it is just express. But if it is a route, it is going to be express.router. Are we there?
Yes.
Yes.
Now,
Yes. Yes.
good.
You are with you.
Okay, now we have it as express.router here. Then we give it a variable index router. Okay, what do we now want to do with this index router? Remember, we used to say web.get, like here, we will say web.get because we want to do something, we want to get something out of that web, right? Web application. Okay, the same thing we are doing, no difference. There is nothing big deal about this thing. So the same index router.get, we want to get the same way. Okay, what are you getting from the router? We say home, if it is the home directory. And do you know what this home directory means? Let me show you what it means. What this home directory means is when I say slash what? Slash what is it going to be? This is we are going to tell this particular web what we want to slash here. Maybe it's going to be slash index, for example. Do you understand? So what we are saying here is that slash whatever we declare it to be, and it is inside this web.js that you are going to declare what is going to be here. We are coming there. We will come back there now, right? So you are now saying, okay, slash whatever it is going to be. Okay, what am I going to do? Response.status 200, then render index. Can you see now? We are rendering index, the same index, we are rendering it. You can see now. So that is rendering it through route. But mind you, because we are saying render index, something came to my mind now. Can somebody just tell me? I'm saying render index. Do you remember what I said about render index? I said there must be a template engine for every render. Yes or no? Right?
Yes.
Okay, definitely. It means that I'm still going to need this particular template engine. I'm still going to need it. The only difference will be that I want to render it from a route
Okay.
using this logic now. I want to make it
Okay.
a route instead of using this logic. Do you understand? So
Okay.
that will be the only difference now. Now, can you see now? So I want to render it. Then and I'll say index router dot get. That is if it is any other thing apart from whatever I specify here, then it should render the error page. Can you see? That is another explanation. Now, for this particular thing to work in your main application, you need to export it. That is why we are saying module.export index router. That means anywhere you see a direction, a path to this particular file index.js, then it should work. Okay, now we have exported it. Okay, when we finish exporting it, where are we going to use it? We are going to use it in our main application because our main application is going to depend on this to run. So let's go to web.js back now. How will it depend on it? The first thing for you to do is to import it at line 3. So I'm going to uncomment line 3 now. See, I am importing it because I exported it here. Now I am importing it here so that I can use it. Can you see the path to it now? Dot route slash index.js. Exactly. That is the root, right? You can see route, then slash index.js. So this is the path to it. So I have imported it, but I gave it a variable name index route. You can give it any name you like. So I give it index route. After giving it index route, okay, what are you going to do? You now come to line 9 and say, okay, I have imported it. So this server called web.js, use it. That's why I say web.use. What are you using? You are using index route that is here that I imported. Then to do what? To look for slash index and render it. That is it, slash index. You can see. So I was saying here that I can put anything here. This slash can be slash anything. Whatever is going to be, this is where you are going to tell us slash index. You can give it any name, you can be slash anything. But just because I gave the name of the file index.js, that's why I said slash index so that there won't be confusion, right? So conventionally, let it be the name of the route. Since the name of the route is index.js, then let it be slash what? Slash index. So this will also work. Do you understand? This will also work. If I comment out this now, okay, let me see. This is what I'm going to comment out now. I'm going to comment out all this. Do you see what I did now? I have commented out all these web.gets. I don't need all this more. The only thing I'm doing is that I'm using view engine. I don't need all this again.
Okay.
I want to use this view engine now.
That means this one you
This
commented out
engine
now.
now.
These ones are for EJS. So because we have imported those ones from the other file now, so all these functions are in the other
Exactly.
index.js.
God bless you. Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
They are actually this one too. No, this particular one too is going to relate with the EJS as well. Do you
No,
understand? But
yes, I'm
instead of
aware. Just
this,
the rendering,
yes,
the rendering.
instead of doing the request and response from here, we are doing
Okay.
it from the what?
From
From the
the
route. Can you see the
route.
request and
Yeah.
response here? We
Yes.
are
Yes.
doing it
Yes.
from the route.
Yes.
So this will also work. Do you
Okay.
understand? Let me test
Okay.
it for you to see. Let's go to our this thing and see. Uh, okay, let's see now. Let's say let's run it now. Okay, I'm coming. Okay, we are saying route. It is a route. So it's not going to work from here. So let's say index slash index slash index, right? Can you see?
Okay.
When you say slash index as a route, can you see it renders?
Okay. You have declared it as slash index.
Yes, I've declared it as slash index. I said anytime you see the route slash index, this is what you should
What
display
should
for me.
do? Okay. Okay.
Do you understand? That is what I said here.
Yes. Even you declared it in the .use.
Exactly. So you can see here, I said index.router.get. Whenever you see slash what? This is where we said it here.
Yes, you can see slash
We
index
said
in the
at
use
line 9, we said slash index, web.use slash index. Where is this slash index coming from? It's coming from the
from
index
the
route.
index.js. Okay.
Exactly. It is coming from the index route. We have imported it as
Imported
index
it.
route.
Yes, yes.
We imported it and give it the name index route. That is what we are specifying here. That
Okay.
use what is in this from this index route, you are going to see slash index, then render it. Do you understand now? So that is how it works. That is how it works. So even
Someone is raising his
to
hand up.
render the other page,
Chibuke is raising his hand up. I think he has a
well,
question.
Hi,
somebody
good
has a
evening.
question.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
evening, boss.
good evening,
Okay, good
Sulaiman.
evening.
Thank you for this. I have a question. For the
Okay,
view folder, I know we have error.ejs and index.ejs, but for roots, we don't have that of error. So I want to understand: is there any relationship there,
Okay.
like rendering the 404 page? Do you get my question?
okay,
For
okay. For the
route.
root,
For the
we did
route, yeah,
not.
we don't have the error page there. So
For the route,
what's
for the
the
route,
yeah?
for the route.
Yes, yes. In case we are
Okay,
entering another file which is not
Okay.
index.js.
Index.js. Okay.
So what's the relationship between that route and view to render error page?
Okay.
exactly. It's going to render error page. Exactly, it's going to render error page. Let me see, because here, if you see this, where is it? Where is it? Look at it here. We specified it here that dot get any other thing. If it is any slash any other thing, then it's going to render this particular page. So let us run it and see. Uh, space
Another
slash
thing I want to
index
add that
gave
we
us
are
this.
still making use of that
Then
EJS framework. So it's not that we are not
exactly,
using the EJS again. So the EJS is still
yes, we are
rendering
still.
rendering that 404 page.
Uh, yes, yes, yes. Let's say slash school. Maybe we
School.
are looking for this slash school. Oh, what is happening? It's supposed to render that particular route. Okay. What could have happened there? Let me see.
Is it using the same
This
syntax
is
as
what
that star?
this is this is what you are asking.
Yes.
Um,
I think probably maybe we should declare this one too at the other web.js.
okay, I'm coming. Okay. Think let me go to my web.js.
Yes.
Uh, we
We
are
only
saying
declared
okay,
forward slash here.
web.use. Okay, okay, we only do start d in there. So we are going
Yes.
to declare that one too.
For the error
So we are
too.
going to say web.use for the error too. That is where the issue is. So web.use.
Can you start?
You understand? Then it will look for
Yeah,
it.
that makes sense.
Let's see.
We have
Exactly.
someone. Someone is
It should
raising his
use
hand
it.
up. We have Fadun is raising his hand up. I think he has a question.
Okay.
Yes. Hi,
Okay.
good evening, everyone. Okay, so I wanted to ask, I'm seeing the FS module imported into this file. So I'm
Okay.
wondering, is that render reading the file
Mm.
implicitly? Dot render. Are we reading files here?
Oh, the network is bad. I can't hear you clearly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Hello?
Hello? Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, all right. So I'm asking, I see that you imported the FS module to use here. So I'm
Yes.
wondering, that dot render, is it reading the
Mm.
file implicitly there?
Network.
Sorry, let
Hello?
me just type.
You can just type it so that it's going to read from the chat box. I think his network is not good.
Is the network.
She's going to type it in the chat box.
Okay. So I'm coming. I'm trying to make this work. This. Okay. The error page from the coming. Does use slash investigate? Okay, I've she typed that question. Let me see the question.
No, not yet. Okay. The question is there. You can check now.
Okay. Okay. I can see that you imported the FS module. Does that mean that the dot render is reading the file implicitly before rendering? No. No, the answer is no. The FS module, we are not using it for this purpose at all. So we are not using it here. Do you understand? The FS module is not render, does the reading, does everything that has to do with the reading. So the answer is that the FS module is just here. I'm not really using it. So even if we comment it out, it's not useful here, right? We still have our result. Okay, so from this render page, we can fix this out later. Do you understand? So let's move on. So this can work, and we can also read. We can also read. Instead of saying, when we say app.get, hello, are we there?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay. So I think this implementation is clear. Can we move on?
Have we been able to render our error page?
From the route, no.
Yes. Okay.
We have not been able to render it from the route.
Okay.
So what we will do is that maybe we can fix that out later. Just let's stick to the use of this particular rendering it exactly from the application here. So that will work fine. This is working fine. So instead of using route, is that clear? So
Yes.
that is that. Okay. Uh, this is working fine. Then slash any other thing. Then we have our error page. So that is working fine. So let's implement it like that. So and let's move to the next this thing. So now that is about the web.server. So I want to leave the web.js so that we can look at the API. So let's look at this now. I'm going to close all this. Okay. So let's go to the server. Now, for this API now, this is the main app now. The app, yes, that we are going to be running everything from. So now, the same thing for an API server now. We have our Express. You are going to install it as you used to do. Let me just stop the server from working now. Okay. So cd dot enter. Then we are now going to cd into what? Into API server. Okay. Okay. So I want to start with the API server now. Are we good to go?
Yes, we are good to go.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now we have our express just being declared the same way. Then here we have a route called item route, and we are importing it here. We are importing it like this because this item route is where we are going to be running everything that this particular application is going to depend on. It's going to be a route. Because remember, when you want to do your http, you say http is the way we used to do it. um localhost localhost, we have your colon, you have your port, maybe 3000. Then after this we want to say slash item, whatever we want to render. It may be students, maybe slash, let me just, I use item here, let me just say slash what? Slash items. Now slash items means you want to render everything, you want to display everything in the item. So this item is going to be a route. So that is why we are importing that particular route here, right? So there is a background voice disturbing us. Who is that? Okay, let's move on. So this is a particular route. So we are importing it here. Now let's go to that route and see what is there. There's not much here from the main server, right? Because everything we are going to be doing is going to be done in that particular what? Route. Is going to depend on. So we are now saying, okay, const app equals to expect. This is where we display the app. We have our port. We are now saying app.use slash items from that route called item route, just the same way we did before. Are we there?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. So this name now, the name
Are
is
we there?
item.js for this API server.
Yes. Where is it? Yes, it is item.js. That's the name
.js.
of the route. Look at it here.
Yes,
Can you
I've
see
seen
it
it.
here? This is
Yes,
it.
yes.
This is the item.js. I'm going to open it now. This is where we are going to be doing all our work. It's just like the your where is it called? App.js. This app.js that we open now. But this app.js is going to depend on this items.js. It is the route for this app.js, and we are importing it here at line 3, right? And we are using it here at line 9. And when we want to use it, we say look, anytime we say slash items, do everything that is here. Carry out everything that is in this item route, which is this route we have imported. So I'm going to open it now so that we can see exactly how it happened. That is where we have all our logic. So let me open it now. Items. Now, this is it. This is where we have our bulk of code. Can you see it down? All our method get, put, delete, update. This is where we have everything. Now, the same way you import your express inside it, then we are going to use body parser because we are going to be making requests from the body. Remember, I told you in our normal, the one we did without framework, we are going to say request on data request dot on hand before we get everything that is from the body, which I showed you before. But here, to get anything from the body, we are going to use body parser. Mind
Okay.
you, for you to
Okay.
be able to use body parser, you must have you must have installed the body parser, right?
Oh,
You will come
okay.
to your command and write npm
Install.
install body parser, right? Body parser. This is how you are going to write it, body hyphen parser. You get it? So you will install it. So I already have it. If you check, if you check the package.json file, you will see it there. Where is it? Can you see body parser at line 17? So body parser is there. So I also have express as dependency. Then for dev dependency, you have your node more, right? Just the same thing. So let's go back to it and see the logic. Now, the first thing we are going to say is that, okay, we are going to use the FS as well. We need it here. Then this is how you declare the application now, the express now to work. You say item router equals express.router. You see what I showed you the other time? Express.router. But here, we are only having it as what? Where is the app? We are only having it as what? As express. Just, oh, sorry, here, line 6. We are having it as express, not dot router. But because this is a route, that's why we are having dot router. Can you hear me? Are we there? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you,
Okay,
sir.
that's
We
good.
can hear you, sir.
Oh, Steven, you are here. Hey,
Ah,
Steven, where have you
I'm
been?
I'm sorry, I slept off.
I,
Oh.
I'm,
I just
eh,
woke up 9:36. Hey, that was when
It's a
I
lie. You
really
were not
oh
rushed.
my
sleeping. I know
God.
where you went to.
Don't mind Vivian, no.
Steven, Baba.
Like seriously, I
Okay.
slept off. So I just woke up and I
Okay,
I
yeah,
joined
yeah.
immediately.
Okay,
Well done,
okay,
sir.
okay,
Well done,
okay,
sir.
okay. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, let's quickly do this. Now, this is the route, and we have it as item router, and this is the way you declare your express to start working for your router. It's going to be express.router as against just ordinary express for your main application that will depend on this. Now, having done that, what do you want this item router to do? This is everything it's going to do. But there is a particular place we are going to use this body parser. You know, we imported it here. But in order to use it, this is how you are going to declare the usage. It's a middleware. Middleware are just like function that will be needed that for us to be able to get our response is going to come in between our operation for us to get our response. So we are going to use this particular body parser as a middleware, and this is how you declare it in items router.use, then body parser.json. What does that mean? It means everything that it collects from the body, it should stringify it. I told you the other time, you remember, let me show you again the difference. Look at it. The difference between that is that what? This stringify, where is it? Let me see. Where is it? Oh, request handler, server declaration, request handler response, grabbing data from the URL, grab data from the body. Ah, okay, don't worry. Let me just continue. I didn't see what I'm looking for. Okay, now what I want to show you is that for the one that we use with that framework, we are going to say JSON dot dot what dot stringify, right? Before we can convert anything to JSON, we are going to have request dot on data request. But here, JSON, this JSON will do exactly what this is doing, right? After the body parser, I've done the request on data, request dot on end, get the chunk, buffer, concatenate, and all that. This body parser will do that. Then this dot JSON will now do the JSON dot stringify. So that is exactly what it is doing there, right? Now, having done that, we can now move on. Remember, in the other one, when we are not using framework, we will say if request.url equals to this, then if request.url equals to get, instead of doing all that, you just say item router dot get. That means when you are using get method and the root directory is this, which is this slash means root directory, then this is going to be a callback function. This is what should happen to undo the request and the response. Now, you must have been hearing about controller. This is what we call controller. This particular callback function that handles the request and the response is what we call what? Controller. So, in some other implementation, you can have this controller in another what? Another file and call it here. Do you get what I'm saying? Let me just show you. This is what I'm saying. You can say items what? Items router router dot what? Dot get. Sorry, I didn't spell router very well. Item router dot get. Then you open your bracket. You have this. You have your slash. Then you can now say comma and say get item. See what I did here? You know what this means? Okay.
But that get item, that means you might have declared your callback function. Probably maybe below all these functions or above it.
No, it's not going to be ordinary. It's going to be controller. Sorry, it's going to be controller.
Okay.
Dot get item. Controller dot get item like this.
Mm-hmm.
Does it even have this function of a thing? No, it doesn't have. It will be like this. Controller dot get item. Now, what am I saying is that what you are saying controller dot get item. You are calling this get item is going to be inside the controller, which is going to be in another file. Then inside that file, that function called get item is going to have this parenthesis, is a function. Now, inside this function get item, all this is going to be inside it. Do you get now? All this is going to be inside it. This request response, const
Please,
item, whatever that
can
is
I
here
ask
is
a
going to be
question?
inside it.
That controller is going to
Okay,
be
you can ask.
export module, I guess.
We are going to require it here.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it's going to be this controller is the name of it. It's going to be another file entirely. Like we have files here. It's going to be a file that will stand on its own. We call it controller.js. Right?
Okay. So if you now
It's
want
going
to
to be
call it a
controller.js.
callback function,
Then
that means it will be
inside that controller.js, you will now have this function. The way we used to declare function now. You say function get item.
Yes, res.
Abi,
Yes.
you have this, then you have your
Request and
curly
response.
bracket, right?
Yes.
You have your request and response here, Abi.
Yes.
Your request and response. You understand?
Yes.
Then you can now have this implementation here, line 13 and line 14. You can now have it inside this curly bracket. Do you understand?
Yes.
So it means instead of writing everything here, you put this. So that's another implementation. Do we understand that? Or I should come again?
Please, you can
So,
come
but
again.
we are not using. Okay, let me come again. What I'm saying is that here, let me comment out this. What I'm saying is that line 12 to line 15 is okay for us to work with, right? That's what we are even working with now. But I'm saying that instead of having a callback function here, after this slash now, instead of saying callback request response, is a function now that will execute what is inside this block. Instead of having it in there, another implementation is that you can just call it like this, saying controller.getItem. Now, this controller.getItem, where is it coming from? the controller is going to be another file that will be called controller.js. Like we have app.js, item.js, we are going to have another file called controller.js here. So that controller.js, what is going to be inside it is going to be this function, just this function. Function get item is going to be what will be there, right? And this function get item will now contain this block in line 13 and 14. That is what we call controller. But we are making it simpler instead of, actually conventionally it's good to have it in a separate this thing like this. Let me just remove all this. We don't need this now. So we are only working with this. We are having everything here. Our controller is here. We are working with it directly here. Now, what do? We do the same thing. We read the file. We read this file, the directory. Now, this one, you may not have it directly here. You can first of all have your normal const what? Path. To be equal to what? Path.join. The way we used to have it.
Then we list our directory.
Yeah. We have your their name. Sorry. You have your directory name, right? Then you have comma. Then you have this particular part now that I put here.
Okay.
Control copy. And have it here, right?
Yes, in string.
You understand? But it's going to be quoted. It's going to be in string. You understand? So let me cut it. Put it inside here. You see, it is going to be like this. So then this part will now be what is going to be here. You can have it like that, right? So instead of saying, I can now put that part here. So it worked like this, right? So I have the part and I put it here. So this will also work. So then after doing that, it read it. You have your items. So it means everything in that particular item.json. Let me open our item.json. Where is it? Item.json is where it's in the database. See database here. You see the item.json there. This is what we have there. This is the item, just like we had in the other one. So we have this item there. So it will grab all this now and put it in that particular item, right? It will put it here. Then what do? We now send it. Response.status 200.send this particular item. Do you understand? Because it is a string already, so we can send it directly. It's already a string. We are not doing JSON.stringify anything, because when you read file sync, it's going to be a string. Then you can have it, get all the item. Do you understand? So this is going to work fine. So if you go and let us run it now, you will see the way it's going to work. Let us start our server and let's test this if this is going to work. Are we in the server now? Okay, npm start. Okay. Oh, there's a crash or something. We have altered something here. Okay, path.join. Okay.
You use path.join. Even this your real file thing now. We have to change it back to that db/item.json. You copied it from that where you use the path.
You said I copied this part now is what I have here now. Okay, you know what? Don't let us
stress ourselves.
Let's use it directly here. Right? Alt Shift K. So let's use it directly. We are just reading it directly from that root, right? So that's where the problem is coming from. Though it can also work like that. It can also work like that.
If you are using it like that, probably maybe there is another way.
Yeah,
maybe you are going to.
It's not even supposed to be in that place. Is supposed to be a global variable. You understand? It's
Yes.
not supposed to be inside that callback function. You
Yes,
understand?
yes,
So that let me clear this. Let me clear this. So npm start. Okay, our server has started running now.
Good to
So
go.
let's copy it and come to our request. Let's say new request now. So
You are getting.
Control V, right?
Yes.
So we say slash what? Is a
Slash
route. Is coming from the route. We said the route should be slash items, Abi.
items. Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes.
We
Yes.
said slash items. Good. So remember it's slash item. Let me show you again so that you can be very sure. Okay, we are getting now. We are now saying slash. We said this is going to relate with the route. It is item router. We say slash here, but what is in the router is what? We are saying it should use coming from the root directory. Okay, let's go. Where is the item router? Okay, app.js. See, in the app.js, we are saying the app should use slash items for the item route. This is where we have it, line 9,
Yes.
right? So that's why we are saying slash item, because we have declared it here that when we say slash items for this particular route, that is when it should display. So let's see it here. So slash items, let's get it. Get. Can you see? We already
Okay.
got it.
Okay.
So we have our result already. So we have gotten the item that we are the only item that we
Okay. We
have
only
here.
have one item there, so we are just
Yes, we
getting
have
that
one
one.
item there.
Okay.
Yes, we are going to post. We are going to create more item now. Do you understand? So let's move on.
I think
So
I'm
now
not the
let's
only
go
one in
to.
class, because I think I'm the only one responding to the. We have members too that can join, that can contribute to it, please.
Are we talk? Are we still there?
Yes, so yes, we are still here. Don't worry, continue.
Una can't go low key. Now so it be Abi.
Make we dey talk. Oh, make we dey talk. Oh,
I beg you,
make
I
we dey
beg.
talk. Oh, let's talk now. Oh, let's talk now, please. We are here to get this thing clear. Oh, let's talk now.
Yes,
Eh? Are we okay with line 10 and 10 to 12? Is it clear?
yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Good. But I want to ask
Stephen,
a
talk.
question now. Let me see. Stephen,
Yes, it's clear.
Today
It's
Stephen,
I'm
I
my
have a,
personal tutor. You have to understand very well.
clear.
Stephen, I have a question for you.
That's good.
From this file.
Uh-huh. Yes, from here now, I have a
Ah,
question. Please, I just finished
okay,
explaining.
okay.
Okay. From here now, can I say dot send file? I want to believe we've heard about send file, line 12.
Okay, line 12. Okay, send.
Uh, can I say send file instead of
No,
just saying send?
you can't say send file oh,
Why? Why can't
because
I say that?
the value you are passing into it is a variable.
Okay, because it's a variable.
The items.
Okay, it's a variable. But
I'm not
that
very
variable,
Can I
you are not very
comment?
sure.
Can I assist him?
please assist me. Oh.
Okay, let me say send file. Let's see. Send file, right? We will see
Yes.
what will happen. Let's see. Send file. Can you see error?
Yes.
You cannot say send file.
I'm
And
correct.
the
Yeah.
reason. Okay, so you cannot say send file here. Cannot say send file here. So you can only use send here because this is a string. So you can use send for a string, right?
Mm.
So but
But
send
let's
file we
let's
use it for
assume,
something different
we are
entirely.
sending out, we are getting a string now. Let's assume we are getting a JSON file. How are we going to go about it? are we going to convert it to a string?
If it is a JSON file that you are getting here, then you are going to see that now in the other implementation that we show you that it's going to be .json. It's
JSON.
going to
Okay.
be .json. It will stringify it.
Stringify
Do you
it.
understand?
Okay.
Yes, you know that .json. I told you that it means JSON dot stringify.
Stringify, yes.
You remember?
If you want to convert to
Yeah,
JSON file, we will
exactly.
be using JSON.parse. But if you want to convert to a string, it's going to be JSON.stringify.
.stringify, exactly.
Yeah.
So now let's move on. So now to get an item, okay, before we go to get item, let us post item before we now start getting another item. Let's talk about this now. How do we post an item? The same way you say item router. Remember where outer writer is coming. That is what we used to declare our express here at line 5. Item writer equals to express.router. So it is this item router you'll be using to do everything you want to do. All your get, your post, your method, that is the variable that you have your express framework inside it. So you are using that particular framework now that is being stored inside item router to do all these get, post, delete, update of a thing, right? So we are posting now. Look at how we are posting. So item router dot post, we are saying slash. You know what this slash means? Steven, what does this slash mean?
The slash is to route it now
To route it to where?
to the file, to the items.json.
To the item.json. Good. So this is slash items. Okay. Now request response, then we have a callback function. Then what are we trying to do? Because we want to read, we want to post rather, we need to first of all grab what we have in that item.json file. That's why we are saying read file sync. We are reading it. Remember the implementation that was done in the class, it used read file. But when you are using read file, you need to async and await. Do you understand? When you are saying read file, you will need to async and await if you have to use read file. Do you understand that implementation? You will need to
Yes.
async and await. It means we are going to have async here. Do you understand? This callback function is going to be async. Then the read file now, that read file is going to be await. That read file is going to be await. So, but we are not using that implementation. Me, I prefer read file sync. This one is straightforward. Do you understand? So you read file sync, you have your items in the database, then you do JSON.parse to convert it into a what? A JSON object. Why? Because you want to work with it. There's something we want to do with it. That's why we are passing it to JSON. And what do we want to do with it is that, okay, before we do anything further, we need to grab what we have in the body. You know, when you want to post, look at it. I've explained this before. When you want to post, you have to come to the body and put what you want to post there, right? Let me get first. Let me get so I can copy from here. Copy V. So are we there? So let's change this one. We want to post something now. Let's say we want to post bread. So we want to post bread, and bread is 500 naira. That should be maybe a medium size. Then the ID maybe is in this in this implementation now we did not factor in ID, you know, did I do that? Let me see. I did not implement the okay, I implemented it. Okay, it's there. Incremental ID is there. Okay. Okay, so we don't need to put ID. It will generate the ID automatically. Okay, so this is what we want to post. So this thing we want to post here, if you come, it is what is in the body. You can see it is inside the body. So in order to grab what is here, Remember, we need to do request dot on data, request dot on end before we can able to grab it. But in Express, we don't need to do request on. What we just do is what? Request dot body. You can see line 33. We just say request dot body, it will grab it with the use of the body parser middleware that we declare here at line 7. Do you understand? Because we have body parser here, that is why this is going to be what is going to be possible. Without the body parser middleware, this is not going to be possible. So it will catch it and convert it into JSON object. So what we have in item post now, item to post now is that JSON what? JSON object. It's an object now. So now we have item post as object and we have items as object. We can now relate it together in line 34 and 35. Let me give a space that to be clear. Okay, should be clear now. So this is how we grab it. So now we have last ID. This is the ID of it. And this is where we do the incremental. I've explained this before. We all understood this, right? Line 36 and 37. What we are saying is that we want to get the last ID of the item there. So we now said items that we have grabbed here, the items. You know, we have grabbed all the items in the what? In the item.json file here. We now say items at items.length minus 1. When you have an array, items.length minus 1 is going to give you the index of the last item. Then after saying items at that last index, what do you want to do with it? We now say dot ID. We are grabbing the ID of that last item, and that will be last ID. Then you now say new ID will now be that last ID plus 1. You are adding 1 to that last ID, and that will give you the new ID. Do we get that now? So now that we get the new ID, what do you now do with it? We will now, use spread operator to add it into what we had before. The same thing we did before without framework, we do it here. So we now say post with ID. We're now going to be what? You use spread operator. This is the item to post that we have, that we have, from the body. Then we now put ID inside it. So it has an ID. Then we can now push it. We now push it inside the items that we have before. These items, we push it inside it. So after pushing it inside it, we can now write it out, just like we had it in the other framework. So the only difference here is just this line 34. Everything here is what we did before.
The syntax are quite, they are similar. It's just few
similar.
They just have few
Yes.
differences.
Few differences that I showed. When I started this section, now I showed you the differences. Those are the basic differences there.
Okay.
So every other thing is just the same, right? So you can see. So that's all. So if you go and check now, if you try to post now, it's going to post.
Okay.
So let's post this now and see. /items. Okay. Post this. Let's see. Post. Then we have it.
But
Okay.
we are having the ID to be 1. You are using get. You are using get. You are using get.
Oh, I'm using get. Sorry. It's just getting what is there. Post. We are posting now. Are we there?
Yeah.
So let's post. Post. You can see.
Okay. You are not using random. You are not using random ID this time.
No, I'm not using random. Incremental now.
Okay.
Yeah, it has given it 2. Can you see now?
So if you add another item, it to be the ID will be 3.
Yes.
It will be 3. So let's add another one. Let's say we want to put maybe cake. we have cake now. Let's say our cake is 2,000 naira. So then the size of the cake is large. The size of the cake is large now. So you give it ID 3 now. Send. Can you see? It has given it ID 3.
So if
you go and check your item, it is incrementing the ID. If you go and check your item.json, you will see everything there. Let's open it. Can you see our item.json file?
We have someone is raising his hand up. We have Chibuike is raising. I think he has a question.
Okay, somebody? Yes, let's have your question.
I Silemo. So
Yes.
I'm just curious anyway. Instead of adding, what if we have 1,000 items to add? Is it that we'll be adding it
One
one
by
after
one.
the other, or I can see like indentation of 1 to 5 here. Like, can we continue like do everything once and for
Okay.
all? Yeah. Do you get my
Wow.
question?
Yes, I get your question. That is a see, that's another thing to reason out. You understand? It's true. Like we have more than one item to post now, then maybe we have to specify all of them here. Have another item. Like this one, we can say
It's going to be
comma.
array of items.
So we have another one here.
Yes.
That's what you are saying. Like we have another one here. Let's say uh, P V. This is what you are saying.
Yes.
Maybe you have another
Yes,
item here.
yes,
Then
yes.
You
yes,
can
I
give
get
it,
what you are saying.
you can
So
give it a try
let's
now.
say, let's say, what do we call this now?
Plantain.
Um,
Plantain.
Only fish.
plantain. Let's say plantain now. Then we have our plantain is maybe 300 naira.
Eh?
Then
For
let's call
where?
it small
For this
size. So let's say small size. Okay, this is what you are saying. So if we push this now, what do you think is going to? Okay, I think
You
there
know what?
is
Remove that comma. Remove that comma in the middle. I think
no.
it's
It
not.
can't
It's
be
not.
like that.
Why can't you put it in a like an array of an object? Maybe it will work
That's
like
what
that.
I'm.
Let's try it that way.
It may not work. It may not work.
Yes,
Let me
yes.
see.
Let's try it. Let's try it now. Put
It's
comma
not
in the
going to
middle.
work.
Let's
I
see if
know.
it
I
will work.
know. Hmm.
Let's try it.
Now, if you push this now, okay, we already have three inside it already. Let me even
Yes.
confirm that so that we can see how it's going to arrange. What shift what?
F
Okay, so we have this. So these
is
are the
well
three we
arranged.
pushed. It's well
Yes.
arranged. You can see it has given it ID 1, 2, 3. So successful. But now we are trying to see if we have more than one item to push now. Wow.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me see. I have to reason this out because me before I try something, I need to reason it out. Look at the architecture,
Of what
what
we want to.
is all going to look like. I don't just try like that. One need to reason it out because if you want to push this now,
Hmm.
that our code will not make it work. We need to
Let's
redesign the
let's
code.
let's try it now.
Try
Abi?
it,
We need
sir.
we
Just click on send.
Let's try it now. What if it works? Can
look
you
at
see?
it. Look, it will not work. See what it did.
Yeah, that's true.
See,
That's true. That's
can
true.
you see now?
I
Look at
think
what
I
it
think
did.
our declaration
It's not
for our
giving
items
is giving everything together ID 4.
for yes,
You
yes,
understand?
yes,
And
yes,
it's
Mm.
pushing it here. Let me
yes,
see.
yes,
What shift F?
yes.
You know what?
So
It
that
can
means
work. It can look at what it did. You
so
can see.
it's using
It
that
pushed
everything as one item and giving it
Mm.
one particular ID.
This,
So
and
it's
giving
just
it
to
ID
find the
4.
logic of how it's going to work.
exactly.
You know what?
Exactly.
You know what? We are just going to redesign that code. That's an assignment for us. How
No
do we
problem.
write the code? How do we write the code to make this thing work? So I want solution.
Multiple
Yes, that's
items.
another assignment too. Let's go and work on it.
No
Don't
problem
let me
now.
be the first person to get that out, please.
Why? When is the
Yes.
deadline? Because as a developer, we have to listen to the deadline too.
Let's submit this one. It should be after Saturday. It should be after Saturday. Let's submit this one first, right?
Okay,
Maybe
no
next
problem.
week
We'll find a
of
way
next
of how
week.
to get it because I can see that the
Exactly.
ID is 4. There should be a way we can just push it in. That is going to add
Exactly.
multiple items into the JSON
Exactly.
file. Okay,
Exactly. So that is what we should try to figure out. So let us
that's it.
remove it. Let's remove it. Delete.
Yes. Remove the comma at
Okay.
the back.
Yes. So let's go back. So what we are going to do is that this we are going to write another logic here that will make that to work. Do you understand? So look around the logic you are going to put here that will make that to work. This is where you are going to do the magic. So let's figure it out. Well done, guys. So now we can now go to get one item. Now at least we have 3 items now. Let's see how we are going to get one item. The same thing, just say item router dot get. But how do you want to get it? It's going to be through an ID. That's why we are saying slash ID. What we are saying is that we want a situation whereby when we come here and we say slash items slash then maybe 3 as an ID. Slash items slash 3. So we are saying get the items at 3 for us. That's what we want to achieve now. So we want to get it by ID specification at the URL. So now let's go back and see how it is being done. Now, how do we do that? We have said when we have slash item, then ID. You know this slash means slash item, then followed by ID. Don't forget this colon. That is the syntax. You must put this colon, right? So how do we do that? We now say, let us read the file again, like we did before, convert it to a JSON object. Then at line 19, we are grabbing it. Let me space it so that we can see it very well. So at line 20 now, we are now grabbing that ID. You can see the difference. If it is the other one without framework, we are going to what? We are going to say, who can remind us how to grab ID if it is without this framework? How do we grab ID? Somebody to remind us.
We are going to split. We are going to have const ID is equal to request dot URL dot split. Then we are going to use our quote. Then we are going to use the / to split it. So then we search for the index. We use the index of what we want to grab.
Okay. God bless you. You are good. Thank you. I want to believe we all remember that. So that is it. So instead of doing all those splitting of the thing, we just say request.params. This is the only difference there now between the previous implementation and this implementation. That is the difference. So we just say request.param.id. It will grab that ID immediately instead of splitting and looking for the index of a thing. So you don't need to bother about yourself, what is the index and all that. So you just do this, it will grab that ID. Then you have every other one the way we had it before. So this one is like you are founding the item. You want to use this ID now to get it by saying, okay, iterate over these items. Look at it, items.find. See the items here. This is everything in that JSON file, our database. We are now saying inside this JSON file, find an item such that the ID of that item is going to match the ID that we grabbed here. Is going to match it. But because this one is a string in the URL, we are now passing it int so that it can be a number like what we have. You know what we have in the item.json is a number. You see, 1, 2, 3. They are all numbers. So that it can match it as numbers, the comparison can make sense. So that is why we are passing in. So this will be number, this is going to be number. So it can do the comparison. And if it matches, that means the ID that we specify, we have such an item in our in our database. Then we can now call it found item. So, but you need to give room for errors by saying if not found item, that is if it doesn't match here, maybe you go and put 5 and there's no ID 5, there's no item with ID 5, then that means there won't be any item that will be found. In that case, you have response.status 404, then .send item not found, right? Then if it is successful, that if an item is found, then you can now have response.status.json. Now look at the JSON, we are using it now. Remember, we use send here. We are now using JSON here. Why? Anybody to answer that? Why are we using JSON here and we use send here? Yes?
You know, this one is coming
Not
as an
you,
object. Oh,
another person,
sorry,
please.
sorry.
Another person, please.
We have Vivian, we have Stephen, we have Dolapo, we have Chibuike. Please, you guys, your attention is needed.
Please, what's the question, please?
Why are we using .json here and we use .send here? Why? To get
Mm,
what we are looking for. Why?
mm.
Because those are the technical things we need to get.
I think
Oh,
everybody needs to answer that question.
okay.
I'm not
Okay.
very I'm not very sure.
Okay. You need to be sure, Stephen. Oh, we need to be expert in this thing. So you must be sure. Okay, so can Muniruddin help us? Mr.
Okay.
Muniruddin.
The uh, the the request is coming as an item, so we have to convert it to a string. So that's why we are using JSON. The
It's
JSON
Okay,
coming
so
as an item or it's coming as an
as an
object.
object. Sorry, object. Sorry.
so you can't
Okay.
use dot stringify here.
No, 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 no. We can't use it.
No,
You know, we
no,
have
because
used
because
body parser. We have used body parser to declare the JSON at the top there.
Yes.
So
so
instead of
do you
using that
understand this?
JSON dot stringify now, so we just use dot JSON. So it's going to stringify the
Recognize it.
item. It's
Oh,
going to make it a string.
oh,
Anyway, we are not even using body parser here. Do you understand? We are not
Okay.
using body parser here. The point is that it is when you say request.body, that is when you are using body parser.
Body parser.
Do you
Okay.
understand? We are not using request.body in this implementation. Now, what we are only doing is that we are grabbing the ID from the URL. But the
Okay.
fact is that, remember, these items is an object. Yes or no? These items is an object. When you JSON.pass, it
Pass.
gives you what? It gives you an object, right?
Okay. Yes. Because our read
Eh,
file sync is going to stringify the
Exactly.
item. So I mean
So,
the object. Sorry.
exactly. So the items is an object and you are iterating it, you are iterating over it here. Whatever you are going to get as found or item is going to be an object, right?
Object.
So
Yes.
that object needs to be converted to a string before you can render it, because you can show it. It has to be converted to string. That's why we are saying .json. Steven, do you get that? Eh?
yes, sir.
Stephen is not. But in this case now, it is a string here. When you read file sync, it's going to give you a string.
Okay.
It's not going to be an object. So you can just say .send straight. You don't need to stringify anything here. Just say .send because it's already a string here. But in
Yes.
this case, it's an object. Then the reason why we converted it to an object in the first place, at this line 17 is a string. When we read file sync is a string at line 17.
Yes.
But the reason why we converted it to an object using date was past is because we want to iterate over it. We want to iterate. You can iterate on an object, but you can't iterate on what? On just an ordinary string. So we are iterating on this one now so that we can now compare the ID. That is why we converted it to an object. So now for us to now show it, we need to take it back to string. That's why we now say .json here. So
Okay.
that's the reason. That's the reason. So now we can get an item. So that will work fine. Let's test it and see. So we don't need anything in the body. We don't need anything in the body. So it's going to be get, Abby. Let's go to get. So we are now saying, okay, we want to get item at number 3, right? So let's send it. It will give us that item. Send. Can you see? It give us item at number 3. So if you say number 1, if you put 1 here, it will give you the one at number 1. Can you see? If you say 2,
Yes.
it will give you the one at number 2, right? Now, what if you mention an item that doesn't exist? Let me see something before I run that. I want to confirm something. I run
We're
that.
not.
Did I put that condition? Okay. If not found item, this, then there should be return here, please. Return.
Item. Okay.
Do you understand? There should be a return. If not, it will go ahead and still print this. If it doesn't found, then the whole thing should break. That's why you're having return here. Do you get it?
Yes.
So let's see. Item, maybe you are saying 5 and we don't have anything at 5. Send. Can you see? Item not found. 404. So that is it. So it works fine. So let's move on. So post an item, we have done that. Then it remain only update and delete. Update and delete. So this is exactly the same. So when you want to update, it's going to be an ID as well that you are going to use. Then you read the file, change it to an object. Then you use request.body to grab what you want to update. When you need to make an update, you have to put something there. Let me change it to update, which is going to be what? Is it put or
Please,
let me see.
that request dot body. I was not in class when you were explaining that update.
Update. Okay, I'm explaining now. Now, see the request. Okay, we are saying in item tracker dot put. Okay, so we are going to have put here
Put
to do the updates. We use put to do the update, and you can also use patch. You
patch.
can also use patch. They
It's the
do the
same
same
thing.
thing. So let's
Okay.
let's use, because what I specify is put, so we are going to use put here. So we are now saying at, okay, we don't need ID. Okay, yes, by ID specification. We are saying the item at 50, we want to put something there. What do we want to put? Okay, let's see. That means we want to update it. Item. Okay, we don't even have 5. Let's say
We
item
don't need to.
number.
We are updating with ID.
This is 3. We are putting 3 here. We want to
Okay.
update item that has ID 3. Abi?
3. Okay.
Then what is the update is what you are going to put in the body. The update that you want to make.
Uh,
And what do you want to update? We want to update
mhm.
what? What do you want to update? Maybe the size. We want to update the size, right? We
Okay.
have size as a
Yes.
variable. We want to update it, right? Let's say the
Yes.
size, we want it to be, what is the size before self? What is the size? Let me open it. Item.json. The size is large, Abi. We want
Okay.
to change it to, small. Let's change it to
Small.
small.
Okay.
Let's change it to small. We want to change it to small. So that is the only thing you need to, the update that you want to make is the only thing you will specify. And every other things will fall in place.
Okay.
Do you get it now? So we
Okay.
are updating only the size, right?
Okay.
Good. Now let's go back to our code base and see how it works. This is how it works. So now you are going to grab what I just showed you now. That size that is small is what we are grabbing by this request.body. Do you understand? Let me space it so that you see it very well. So you can see this line 57 is grabbing what is here. This thing, this is what it is grabbing. It is in the body. Abi?
Okay.
So you are now grabbing it.
Okay. That is where we are using that body passer.
That is why we are using body parser. So when you
Okay.
say request.body, the body parser will convert it to JSON like this. Are you getting
Okay.
me? It will do
Okay.
the request on data, request dot on end,
Okay.
buffer dot concat to string,
Concat.
then
So
JSON dot,
JSON
then
dots.
JSON
Okay.
dot pass.
Dot pass.
You know
Okay.
all those things we used
Yes.
to do.
Yes. All
This
those
request.body will
procedures. All those
procedures,
chunking,
request
chunk.
chunking of a thing, chunk,
Yes.
exactly. Request.body, we handle everything with the use
Okay.
of the body parser that we have
Okay.
up. We have
Yes.
body parser here.
Yes.
See
Yes. We
body
have.
parser at line 7. This is what
Yes.
is going to enhance it. Without body parser, it will not work. Do you
Okay.
understand? This is a middleware that we are using, right? So
Okay.
let's go down. Update. Now this is it. So that is handled, and we have that as update as an object, is an object, and this item is an object. So we can now do the update between this item and update. Now how do we do that? we have to grab our ID first because we are using the IDs as well. So when you grab the ID, you will now use that ID to find the item. You now say confound index. We want to look for the index of an item that the ID of that item is going to be the same thing as the ID that we what? That we grab here. You know this syntax now, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'm writing it another way. This thing that I wrote, I used one line to write it here, line 61, but I used two lines to write it where? Where did I use it again? I use it
Which one?
somewhere. Look at it. Look at it. When we are getting one item, see this code here, line
Yeah.
22, 23, 24. When we use find, Abi,
Yes.
so I wrote it another way here using just one line. Can you see it? So I just use arrow function.
Function.
It's an arrow function. That one too is an arrow function, but another way of writing arrow function. You remember when you remove the brackets,
Bracket.
this one,
Yes.
this item will be inside bracket, you remove it, then you will remove the curly braces too.
Okay.
It's another
Yes.
way
Yes.
of writing arrow function. You know this one that we did it when we are doing pure JavaScript, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
now, you now find index of the item that the ID of that item is matches the ID that we specify for the item
Okay.
we want to update, and that will be the found index. So it is the index that we have here now. We are interested in the index. Now, what do we now want to do with the index? We now say, okay, after getting the index of that item that we want to update, we now say items at that particular index should now be equals to. Look at what we did here. Look at this thing. This is how to do the update. This is where the update magic happen. Line 64. Look at it. Get this syntax. We are using spread operator to push the update inside what we have before there.
Just like we did for the other one too.
That one we added ID. The other time we use it was like Kilate Shengba, we added ID now. We merge ID with it, right?
No,
But
no,
here
no.
we are
We use this same method for that
no,
for
we did not use this before. We have not
we
used this
use it.
before.
Have
Let
we,
me show you.
we use it
Let
then.
me show you.
No,
No,
in the
let me show
last
you. Look at
assignment, not this one.
okay, of course, in the last assignment we use it.
In the last
But
assignment.
look at line 43. What is here is different. Can you see?
This one now is we are using the ID now. We are is going to be giving it serially like 1, 2, 3. That's why the ID is there. So it's going to be changing the IDs.
Exactly. But notice that we don't have dot here
Dot dot
because
exactly
we are only pushing this one inside this one,
inside it.
right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
in this case now, we want to update. When you
Okay.
do this, it means anything here, any variable here that has the same name, the same variable name here, they are going to exchange. There will be an exchange here. To like now, we want to update the size. The size that is here and the size that is here, they are going to exchange. The one that is here will now be the one that will come here as size. The size that is here before will be deleted.
Please, I want to ask a
That is,
question. I'm thinking
yes.
because I saw another way of doing it instead of using this way. Can we use push for this thing?
When you push it will add to what is there before. Now it will not update.
Okay.
When you
Okay.
push, you are adding to what is there.
So
But
it's
with
okay.
this
But
now,
if
we
you
are
are using spread
updating.
operator, it's updating. Okay.
It will update exactly. So
Okay.
this is where the update happens.
Okay.
So having done that, that means whatever we get here will now be the item that will be stored at that index.
Index.
That's why we are equating it that it should be the item at that particular index. It should not be this old one again. This old one should be updated, right? Then after the updating, then we now assign whatever we get here to be the item that will be at that index. Do you understand?
Yes.
That is what this line 64 is doing. Then having done that, remember, it's going to be an object. We now need to what? we now need to stringify it. We need to stringify it. So the item, we need to write it first. After making the update, you need to write it back inside it. So we now say fs.write file. We stringify the item. These items now, what is inside this has changed
Yes, it's a
by
new
with
item.
what we have done here. What we did here has changed what is inside the item. We can now stringify and write it now. Then after writing it, then what do we want again? We want to show what the updates we made. This update here, items are found here. We want to show it. So we JSON it, response.json, right? So that's the end of it.
Does it
So
have to
let's
be?
see
I
how
think
it.
it's supposed to
Eh?
be. It's supposed to be items now. Why find index again?
Okay, it's going to be items at found index. It cannot
Mhm.
be item. If you say items, that means you want to show everything that is in the database.
Okay.
Are you with
Sorry.
me?
I thought it's going
Eh,
to. We want to show. Okay, we just want to show the updated
I just want to
file.
show the updates.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
it's only the
Okay.
update I want to show.
Oh,
I'm
because
not interested
ordinarily,
in the whole.
once you update it, like the one I did, once you update it, I want to see all the files so that I will check the one I updated.
Yeah, yeah,
But this
yeah.
one
It's
now,
possible. Well, we can. Yeah, it's possible. You can do
but
it
this
like
one now, you
that
just
too.
wanted to
It it
just
will.
want to see the one you update.
Uh,
Okay.
I will now go and confirm it in the
The
database if it is
database.
there.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
You can do it. I think that your own style too is okay. We can do it. It's
So
okay.
like this,
Just see the
so
update.
it will just display everything in your Thunder client.
You
So
will
instead
you
of
will see
checking,
everything here.
your different
Exactly.
file
So you
again,
can do that. Yes, it's fine like that. Okay, let's see. Are we there? So remember what is there before
you
for
have large there.
ID3. What we have is large, right? So
Yes.
let us now send it. Now it's going to be small. Put send. Can you see? Item
Yes.
3 is now small. Line
Small.
17. Can you
Yeah.
see?
Yes. Yes.
The size is now small. So the update has been done successfully. So that is that. So for the delete,
We have someone.
that's the last.
Chibuke is raising his hand up. I think he has a question.
Um,
Okay. Can we?
so I'm curious about the error anyway. So the other one you put return statement, but this one there's no return statement. So my
Okay,
question
that's
is,
true.
hope it won't break.
Yeah, it will break. It will break. That's a
Uh,
good observation. So we can put return here. You are very correct. So we can put return here so that
Excuse
it
me,
doesn't
excuse me, sir.
even if there is error, it doesn't come. Yes,
Can
yes.
we also use res.end in that return position? I think it should be possible to use res.end as well.
Yeah, we have well, we can have result end, of course, we can have it. It depends on the way you want it. Yes, we can have it. But for me, I just want to display. Well, we can have it. Let's do it like that. Res dot end.
And just put
We can
any
have it.
error
We
message.
can say what do you want to put? Update
Maybe
not successful, Abby.
update's not successful. Yes.
An error occurred.
Update not successful. And say update not successful, then you can now return.
Yeah. No, it will return that
No,
way too.
it will return that way too. Rise.end too is a
It will
breaking is a
it
breaking.
will end everything exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly. It will end everything like that. So you can do that. So let's see. If we run that, okay, let's say we want to make update to 1, or let's say we want to make update to a number that doesn't exist. Let's say
Let's say
5,
5.
right?
Okay. Yes.
Yes. So let's push this now. Send. Oh, what happened? It's not supposed to. It's supposed to throw that error.
You know where the issue
Uh,
is? You didn't declare
let me.
if it is not there. Go and check. Let us
Okay,
go and
okay,
check. Let us go and check. I was wondering, you didn't declare if it is not
okay.
found. Check number 62. Check your 62.
62. Okay, okay. That's true. That's
Uh-huh.
true. So this is confounds index equals to this. Okay, then we also say items one. Okay. Let's say okay. Let's say
If I
we
found
can
item is not found.
we can put it there. We can say if no, when you are finding in there, if it is found, no, if it is found, it will find it. But if it is not found, it's going to be
Found.
-1. So you said if
If
found
not found.
index. No, it's not if not found. You say if found index is equals to -1. This is what you have.
Okay, yes,
If
yes.
index is not found, it's going to be negative
-1.
1.
Yes,
Do you understand that?
yes.
So you can have an error statement here. You can have this one.
You know that found index is supposed to be 3 is equal to.
You can say if found index ID
Not
not
found.
found. So you can have that here. Then if it is found, this will happen. Then you can write it. If update not successful, it's trying to write it here. Okay, let's see. Let's see. This one should run. So 5 send. You can see ID not found.
Your status is
So
okay.
that
You have to change the status.
let's go and we have to change the status exactly. So we have to change the status. So here we are going to have it here,
Rest the
and we
status.
have
Oh,
response
4.
status. Okay. So you can see you have 404 not found. So that works fine. Okay, so that's all about the update. So we can now go for delete. That's the last part. So this is the delete. We are going to splice just like that one. Just like that. So the delete, we are going to make use of the ID too. We read the file, get the ID, then make it a JSON object. Then we grab the ID just like the same thing. After grabbing the ID, we do this, we iterate over it, just the same thing that we did. So if found equals to -1, response dot status dot send item within there is not found. This is what we miss in the other one. Then
Yes.
if it is there, you can now splice, right? Then item dot splice. Then what is this splicing? That index that it found, we are going to
Blessing.
splice at that index. Are you getting me? Then 1 means it is the only one it should splice, not
Twice.
further. Exactly. So then after splicing it, we can now write
Please,
the
can
whole items
this
now.
dot d dot slash db slash items dot, can we just give it a name? It's not making the code
This
fine.
one,
Uh,
this one now, that means you have to do your part.join to
path,
give it a
yes,
name.
yes, yes. That means we have to
You
require
can
our path.
you can do that. Yes,
Okay.
you can do that. You can do that. So
Okay.
just do part.join, give it a variable name, then you
Variable
put
name
that name
too.
here. But make it a global. Don't do it here. Do it outside the function. Do you understand? Do that outside the function and come and use it
Definitely.
here.
It's going to be at the top of the.
It's going to be at the top exactly.
So that means it's
So
going to
then
be a
you can use you
global variable.
yes you can exactly. So you can use that here. Then if there is error, you have this. Then if there is no error, then you have this okay status. Then you can say items at ID successfully deleted, and that's all.
Yeah,
That's all.
Chibuke
So
is raising.
let's
Chibuke has a question. His hand is up.
okay. Okay, you can ask your question.
So from what I'm seeing, I just want to ask, from this code now, I'm seeing two if statements for error. So what's the
Okay.
difference? As in, is
Okay.
it necessary like the second one down
Okay.
Is it needed? That's my question anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
If the
Okay,
first one
that's good.
is running, like if you run it,
Hmm.
yeah, it will come
Hmm.
up. Then the second one,
Hmm.
is it actually needed?
Good. Is needed because here the error here is for the fact that if the ID that is being specified is not correct, then you can now say let's throw this error that ID is not found. You are trying to delete an item that we don't even have that ID for it. Then this error should tell us that. But
But why are we
even
using
after
500
get
instead of 404 in that
Okay, sorry.
It's
the
For okay,
500?
sorry. This one should be
it's
404. This one
404.
should be 404. It should be 404. You are correct. You are correct. Then this one will be 500 because
Yeah,
even
that's
after
my
getting the
confusion
ID,
anyway.
yeah, okay, that's your confusion. Okay. That's clear. Because here it should be the problem should come from the client because the client is giving what? A wrong ID. But at this particular stage, the ID is correct. We now want to write into the file after deleting. If anything happen wrong here, then it should be an internal server error for it not to be able to write successfully. Maybe the part that is being specified in the code base is not correct here, then it will not be able to write. So that should be internal server error. So that's why we are having this. I hope that is clear now, right?
Yes, very clear.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. So we can now run this now. So let's say we want to delete items at maybe the third
No,
item.
don't forget we are still in Puto.
Yeah, I will change it. I'm changing
Okay.
it. Delete. Thank you. So let's delete this. Delete. Item at ID 3 successfully deleted. So that is gone. If you check the database now, you won't see the item there. Alt Shift F. Can you see? The third item is not there again. So it has been deleted. So that is everything we need to do and submit very fast. So Saturday is around the corner. So that's the end of the class. So if there is any question, I think we have taken a lot of time. This is past 11. We've used almost 2.5 hours now.
In
Please,
fact,
this other error, the second error for delete, can you try it? Like a scenario where we can that error is going to show.
Oh,
okay.
okay. Let's
Yes,
see.
please, can you
Let's
try
say
it?
we have, yes, let's say 5. You want to delete an item 5,
5.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Delete.
It's
Item
not
with
found.
index 5 not found. You can see. So
That's the
then we have
first. That's
404.
that's the first
But
if.
what about this the other error?
That
What can you
the
possibly?
other error, okay, let's see how the other error, that is if this is not successful. Let's say
And
we did not
just delete
specify.
that DB. Delete that DB
Let
so
me
that we just use.
let me remove DDB here,
Uh-huh.
and there should be a problem here. Let's see.
It's going to bring internal server error here. So it's just easy
Let's
to
add.
debug where the problem is coming from when you have
Let's say we have 3. I know we have. Let's say we want to delete 2, which is a
Two.
right file.
okay.
Okay, let's see. Oh,
Ah,
it delete. Oh, no. There's an error here. Let me see. It's not
Check your
supposed to
JSON file.
delete. Let
Check
me
your
even.
JSON file first.
Maybe the
Let me
route is
see.
still correct. The route is still
No,
correct.
It's
it has
there.
not deleted.
It
It has
does.
not been.
It doesn't delete. It cannot delete. It doesn't delete. But let me see. What should be? No, that's not the error it should throw. The case is not. This is not correct. It's not coming down here. No, it's not supposed to send this. Let me see. Uh, response or status of 500 or send. It's supposed to send this and then return. If it doesn't write, does it mean that he's able to write?
I think that error is still from. Delete that dot.
Let me see.
Delete that
Okay,
dot.
let
Just
me let me see, because he should not be able to write if we don't have the right this thing there.
okay.
Let me have it like this.
Okay.
See. Okay. Yeah, internal server error. It's still trying to write into somewhere there. So meaning that it is when that part is not specified at all. That's when there will be internal server error. I think it's clear.
Yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you
okay,
for
you're
your time.
welcome.
Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your efforts.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah,
And
you're welcome.
Mr. Muni Rudin, thank you very well
Ah,
thank you very much
Okay,
as well.
you're welcome,
So,
my boss.
you're
and
welcome.
Mr. Chibuike, yes, is it Chibuike? Yes, or
Yes, yeah,
Chidiuke.
yeah. Thank you too. Thank you, Mr. Sulaiman. But
Thank you very much.
Mr.
You're
Sulaiman,
welcome.
I want to ask a question, but not
Okay,
concerning the code anyway.
okay.
So just to be clear, this where we actually use all these gets, posts, and so on is
Hmm.
I just want to know like a live application where we apply them. I know we are working with the
Oh,
endpoints now, so
okay,
where do
okay,
we use
okay.
them? Is it? I'm just curious. Like,
Exactly.
okay, changing
Yes,
password.
it's very important. That
Is
is
it
the
like
main thing. You see,
changing
yes.
password and so on? Is that where like I want to
Okay,
change password, then you update, or I want to
okay,
delete something, or I'm filling a form?
okay, okay.
I'm just on
Yes,
the front end
yeah,
side now.
yes,
That's where I'm going.
yes, yes, yes. You are very correct. Okay, let me say this. You know, when you go to some pages, like a student portal now, old school student portal now, you will need to sign up. And when you want to sign up, you enter your username and your password, right? When you sign up and send, that is get, that is create. You are posting. The code behind that username and password going through when you sign up, it is what? It is get, it is create. You are posting to the database. And that username and password will be stored in the database there. So anytime you now try to log in, you want to log in again, do you know what is happening? There is
Going to
a
get.
code that will call back that username and password and confirm if that username and password is there. And that is where authentication comes in. And let me show you that. Let me show you something there. You see, when you are trying to you want to, by the time you want to log in, it is the get that will happen. Because when you log in, you are trying to get something. And what is it get we want to get? You want to open your portal. You want to open your own particular your own dashboard in the student portal. So you want to get that. That is what the response that you should get. Like here now, like you are saying item dot get. Now you want to send the web page should be a good example for that. Where is that web? Where is that web? Let me open the web server. Web.js. Look at it. Look at line 14 and 15. You can see render index. This is a web page. So you want to render your own page here using your username and password. Then before you can be able to render your username and password, we are going to have a function that will be here, authenticate. Oh, okay, because I've not the reason why this one, okay, let me just have it like this, authenticate, which we are going to define anyway. I'm just using this as an example. We are going to have authenticate. Then you now say dot then, right? Are we together?
Yes, yes.
Are we there?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. We are going to have dot then. You have a callback function here because it's going to be a promise. Dot then. Then you will now put this one inside here. Control X. Can you see? What this function is saying is that let me bring it down so that it will be clear. Okay, let me leave it like this. Now look at it. I said for you to be able to get this web page, then there must be an authentication, which I will write somewhere using your username. Now, when I want to write this function, it's going to be in another file. This authenticate is going to be in another file. It's going to be another application entirely, like a controller anyway. It's going to be a controller. This authenticate. Now, I am going to use this function to compare the username and password with what we have in the database that you pushed in when you are signing up. When you sign up, post was used, which is create dot post was used when you sign up. But here at this stage now, I'm going to use what is it called? Dot get now. Before this dot get will happen, I have to authenticate you. I will now compare what you have. Like, for example, now, see, let me show you something here. Before I go there, let me finish up this one. It means it is after authentication now that this thing will happen. This rendering will happen. So this code must pass through authentication before this will happen. So, and what are you authenticating? We are checking the username and the password before this can be open. If the username and password does not match what we have, then there will be problem. This render will not happen. Then we are going to have dot catch. Dot catch. Inside the dot catch, we will now have what? We now have the error. Are you see now? So inside the I said comma dot. Now you see, then dot catch. We can now have our error message here. Do you understand now? We can have our error message here. So this is how authentication works, which is what? Checking your username and password before you can get. But when you are signing up, it was post that you use. That is the application, for example. Do you understand? And if you want to do the comparison, an example is the one that did I even okay, I don't have that here. There's one other code I would have shown you. I don't have it here. Don't worry. So that is one application. Another application is that, in shopping mall, when you are trying to make a shopping, you are trying to click on some things and you have them into your cart. Hello, are we together?
Yes, we
Yes,
are.
yes.
Hello. When,
Yes,
when
yes.
you go to when you go to e-commerce page, e-commerce website, and you want to buy something, any item that you click before it can be added to your cart, do you know what is going to happen? It's going to post that particular item that you pick. And when it want to post it, there is a middleware to confirm if there is that particular item in the database. Then if that item is in the database, that is when it will now respond by showing it inside your cart. It will push it inside your cart. So what we are doing there is post. When you select any item that you want to buy, it is posting. Are you getting
Okay.
me? It is posting. Then when it posts, then there will be a middleware that will now compare it if we have such a thing in the
So in
database.
that instance now, if you want, let's assume I clicked a wrong item. So if I want to delete now, there's a function that is handling that delete as well, just like what we did.
And exactly, handling that delete as well.
Okay.
So those are the things that is how exactly the way it works. Then listen, there are some of these post delete method that is not for all users. There are some of them that is only maybe for the admin.
Mm.
Do you understand? Like in some organization now, like even the example I cited now, when you want to post into a particular database, it is only the admin that does that. Do you understand? Then for you to, like the example e-commerce website now, sorry, it's going to be get. You are trying to get an item.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there will be comparison before you can now have it in your cart. But when it comes to posting in an e-commerce organization, you understand, it is the admin, maybe those that are in charge, the administrators of pushing item into their database that will have access Are we together? That we have access to that what? That uh posting. Now look for example here. Let me show you something here. App.js. Okay, let me go to that item.js. See post here. Where is post? See here. Are we together? See here. If here I don't want everybody to post, I only want only admin to be able to post. Do you know what I will do? I will put a condition here and I will call it admin. Sorry, I will put admin here. See what I did? Admin.
Okay.
This one is an array here, and I'm going to write a code that will check as at the time you are making a post if your position is an admin or your position is just a user. There's a code that will check that. This thing is in our LMS. Oh, you people should go and watch it. Do you understand? I cannot come and start coding that again. I've read it and I understood it very well. You people should go and read it. It's well explained there. There is a way you can write a code. Like this is how you are going to write. You put admin here, meaning that there is a parameter called admin that should be checked before posting can be allowed. So I'm going to check. For get now, I can say, okay, shebi we want to get an item. I can say here, okay, I can have something like this here. Admin. Then I can have maybe
Users.
let me call user. Let me just say users. I can say it means get is allowed for both admin and user. So when I'm writing my code to authenticate this, are you getting me? We you see, go and check your LMS. You will see where they discuss access control level ACL. ACL. We call it access control level. Is on the LMS where they were talking about authentication. We have three types of authentication: username and password, the use of token, and the use of access control level. This one I'm talking about is access control level that we check that okay, if you want to get anything from the database, both the admin and the users can get. I'm going to write a code that will check this. But if it is what? To post, it is only admin. So I'm going to check when you are doing dot post. If it is admin, then it is only admin that can do it. So let's go and read that. So that is how it works. That's the application. That's the application. So not everybody can post, but everybody can get with this condition. So an example is e-commerce, as I said. So àwọn tó ń tajà wọn ló máa lè fi
Thank
ọjà
you.
síbẹ̀, not the users. So
Thank
thank
you
you
very
very much.
much. Very, 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 very clear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, my boss.
Okay. So we can end the call.
Okay. Are you going to post the recorded class to the group link? To the group?
Yes, I'm going to post it.
Okay.
Let me stop the recording. I'm going to post it, yes.
Okay. Okay.